All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, April 3rd. We have a 6-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video. Like we always do, I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm ultimately rolling with myself. If that does interest you, absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3 for more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of how we did yesterday, a nice little 2-0 night. Hitting the plus money with Jalen Duren double-double, and then Clippers first half team total, man, that was a sweat, and they still only finished at 59, but it required, 37 points in the second quarter, so you know what? We'll take another cha-ching. Sometimes luck is on our side. No money gun or anything like that, just 2 half-unit plays. Wasn't 3-0. It was a mini sweep. All right, we'll take it, but no money gun today, especially because it's just kind of a weird time in the NBA. But nonetheless, a 2-0 night. We shall take it. A little conservative yesterday. Now, the ride of the day, kind of funny story here. We don't have one to share. I did pick a ride of the day yesterday, and I thought I tweeted it out. Looks like the tweet didn't send. That ride of the day did not cash, so I'm not going to throw the person under the bus because we never even got it out there or anything like that. So, yeah, shout out to the person who ultimately, sadly, didn't win the ride of the day, but now you don't have to face the womp womp. In fact, we'll just do a general womp womp because it didn't hit yesterday. But like I said, something went wrong with the connection or something. It didn't share. So that person doesn't have to face the music because their play was never posted prior to all the games. But nonetheless, guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what the ride of the day is, it's simple. Just use that hashtag ride of the day down in the comments. I jump on board with one person's play each and every day and give you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. I also post you over on my Twitter, which is right here, just popped up on your screen at FGuyBoston, and you get posted on the final play site on GuyBostonSports.com. So get those favorite plays down there using that hashtag ride of the day. We'll jump on board with one person. If you win, we continue to ride your play and let you go on a little bit of a streak, right? And you continue to get the shout outs. If you lose, you do have to face the womp womp like said person would have today, but nonetheless, kind of get off scot-free there. But get those hashtag ride of the days down in the comments. Like I said, just 6 games to dive into today. Yes, we still have a couple wonky ones, but we survived yesterday's NBA slate. The NBA slate yesterday was crazy as all crazies, and we still go 2-0. So hopefully we can, kind of move that momentum towards this slate. Again, just be a little careful. The NBA is in a weird spot. I've already mentioned it in this video, right? We're about to head to the playoffs, so we're kind of in a lull. I do think that this is going to be a very, very, very good year in the playoffs, which is very cool. There's a lot of good teams, a lot of good players. So, yeah, we'll spike back up again soon, but don't be surprised if we only have, 1, 2, or 3 plays as final plays in the pinned comment. So just keep an eye down on that. But let's go ahead and dive into this, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Start it off with one that I may roll with something in, and we'll just start with that. It's a player prop. Jordan Poole yet again. I mean, the dude, like I said, he has just been chucking. We almost rolled with him yesterday, which would have been nice because Jordan Poole goes out there and scores 23 points. His line was, 15.5? He is on a back-to-back. That said, his last 2 back-to-backs, he's hit the over here in this spot with 18 points and 25 points. So do I like it at 17.5? No, I think it's kind of getting up there. But if we can sniff out a 16.5 or maybe some sort of a same game parlay where we find some value somewhere else, giving him, 15 plus points, maybe that's something that we consider. But I'm sure there's 16.5s out there. So starting off, I like Jordan Poole. He's not necessarily, going to torch this team from deep. I understand that. This is a very good team in terms of defense. It's not like last night where he played the Kings. But this Orlando team does struggle to some degree in the pick and roll defensively. So I think that's where he can kind of thrive in and do his damn thing. So maybe we look at Jordan Poole's points plus assists because I think that he could score and pass out of the pick and roll. So probably the place we'd go there, or just looking at him over in points. In terms of what we have from a side here, this Orlando team starting to look a little bit better, right? They've won 6 of their last 9 games against the number. They're like 6-3 over that stretch, or 5-4, something like that over that stretch as well. Washington getting a win yesterday. I don't think that Washington wins 2 games in a row, so I'm sure Orlando probably wins this game, but they're 14-point favorites, right? And when they do have a rest advantage over their opponent, they've struggled, but not as much as Washington has on back-to-back. So I'll lean Orlando in this spot. 14 points is a hell of a lot. I don't think that they have the blowout speed or potential here, but ultimately I think that they'll control the game. So yeah, I'll lean Orlando, but I don't think that I can get to a 14 number myself. The total sitting at 214 though. I don't mind an over or just an Orlando team total over. Like if you like Washington if you like Washington to kind of bump the pace and you like Orlando to win this game, maybe there's a chance you could say, okay, Orlando can go out there and score, 110 or something like that, which they've done 6 of their last 10 games. So maybe that's a way to play it, but depends on what the odds are there. I think that we're probably a little low in terms of what we're seeing from that team total. I bet it's like 112 or something like that. Toronto taking on Portland. It's a low spread, which is great, meaning we could see some action in this one. But overall, I don't think it's going to be the best of games. You have Emmanuel Quickley out, Jakob Poeltl out, Dick and Ingram still out, and now Scotty Barnes listed as questionable. I will say we have Toronto's RJ Barrett looking like he's going to play, so that's good. On the Portland side of things, Anthony Simons listed as questionable. You also have a ton of guys that have still been either out or doubtful, like Jeremy Grant, doubtful, and then Ayton, Henderson, Robert Williams, all listed as out. So a ton of guys missing action in this one. You have Portland coming off of a pretty good win against Atlanta a couple days ago. Toronto coming off of a pretty bad loss against Chicago a couple days ago. I'm going to lean towards a team that's been playing with the said injuries that they've had more, and I think that would be Portland. I don't love them as road favorites, but this Toronto team I don't really think has as much zhuzh. Not that Portland cares all that much about the season. Neither one of these seasons are extending into the playoffs and whatnot, but what I will say is this is a spot in which we could see kind of a battle down low, and I would assume that's the case. Toronto's decent at defending the perimeter. That's where Portland has been shooting a lot recently, but we know that they'll like to mix it up and get down low, right? But both of these teams kind of struggle down low, so yes, I envision both teams trying to get down low. We know Toronto will do it, and we've seen Portland do that plenty this year. So I like the idea of this being kind of a grinded out game down in the paint, hoping Toronto's pace doesn't kill us here. But my main look would be an under, and like I said, a slight lean towards Portland because I just feel that the better team at this time. If Scotty Barnes was playing, which again, he may play, he's listed as questionable. Scotty Barnes plays, I probably don't touch this. It doesn't necessarily get me to the Toronto side, but I don't think that I'm considering Portland. But I do mean it when I say I probably would consider an under in this spot, because I think we're either going to be counting by twos and or we might see some decent defense in this one, because neither one of these offenses is all that exceptional. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we're looking at on the season kind of middle of the pack defenses, but when playing each other, those defenses might look better because we don't have the crazy good players in this one. And then just a few weeks back they played, and that was a 105-102 game. The game prior was last season, and it went to overtime, but are we really going to judge last season? No, I'll take the more recent one. So, yeah, low-scoring game last time. I don't mind that again today. In terms of what we have from player props, I don't think that we have anything. Let's make sure before we move on. Yeah, I don't have any player props really in this one, and we're still waiting out some of those injuries anyway. So even if we did have anything, it'd be kind of like a meh as of right now. Real quick, guys, before we do move on with the rest of the games, if you want to pick up some merch and support us at the same time, head over to fademe.store or just go to GuyBostonSports.com/store. We have a ton of products and a ton of new products that have just launched as well. So go ahead and check it out. This Let's Ride collection is the newest stuff we have, but we have a ton of stuff out there. I'm wearing the Just Bet It hoodie right now, and what do I keep telling you guys? This is legitimate quality stuff. I call it merch, but realistically, it's just apparel for all the sports bettors out there. These shorts are absolutely awesome, so go ahead and check it out, guys. Again, that link will be down below, but also you can just go to fademe.store or GuyBostonSports.com/store if you do want to pick up some great gear. Like, I don't know if I could show you the material, but this is super, super comfortable. It's like light and heavy at the same time. Go ahead and check it out. Again, fademe.store, GuyBostonSports.com/store. Go pick up some merch. All right, Philadelphia taking on Milwaukee. In terms of this one, taking a peek at the injury report, Giannis is listed as probable. Still no Portis, still no Lillard, and AJ Green listed as questionable. But that doesn't even compare to all of the injuries on the Philadelphia side of things. And now we see Yabusele listed as questionable as well. I do think that this is a spot in which you could always make the argument that Philadelphia is going to play, Milwaukee tough and all that, but Does that really, is that just like that's like hearsay? Because if we look at the recent games, especially this season, Milwaukee has dominated and Philadelphia was more healthy. So was Milwaukee, I guess, but they were more healthy at times during this year. They have covered in their last 7 against one another. Milwaukee has won all 7 of them, and they've covered in 6 of them. This is in Philadelphia, and the majority of those games that I just referenced were in Milwaukee, so I think that is worth noting. But this Philadelphia team, if there was any sort of team that's thrown in the towel, I do think it is them. You have Milwaukee on the other side of things. They're sitting at 6th in the East right now. Can they move up? Well, yeah, I mean, they're a half game back of the Pistons. That's probably the only sort of switch that they can I guess, expect, right? But overall, that's the big deal. Like, you're playing the Knicks or the Pacers if things stop and stay where they are as of right now. So yeah, I could envision this being a spot in which the Bucks really do try and Giannis tries. And we even saw a very good game out of the game against Phoenix. Now, Phoenix battled back and we had Milwaukee money line, but this could definitely be a spot in which we say, okay, Milwaukee, maybe we get some sort of slimy parlay going where we get them -2.5 or money line in some sort of a parlay with someone else on the board today. So I don't see any angle to get to Philadelphia, especially a team that doesn't really care. You have Milwaukee, who is going to be able to score from, I would say, the catch and shoot, the pull up, and also in the paint. So I don't really see Philadelphia stepping up defensively. So yeah, give me Milwaukee. It's a big number to lay. Like I said, the only way that I'd play this is by knocking that line down and getting it in some sort of parlay overall, because it is just too big of a number for me to feel ultimately comfortable with. In terms of a total, I don't mind a game in which these two are running. We've seen more overs hit, and I referenced those 7 games. We've seen, I think they're 5, 2, and 1 to the over in those 7 games that I just talked about overall. So yeah, could be a decent spot for an over. Last time they played, which was this season, a couple months ago, 135 to 127. The time before that, also this season, 123 to 109. The time before that, 124 to 109. So maybe even just saying that out loud, maybe there's more of a look at Milwaukee team total over. But I think that number is going to be very, very high. Let's see if we can get the updated number for y'all. Y'all, don't say that very often, huh? Over 117.5, over 118.5, don't necessarily hate that. We know this Philadelphia defense is kind of struggling, so maybe that's a look, but I kind of just don't even mind just a full game over, because I think Philly will try and score, and Milwaukee's defense, their last few games here, I'll go over the last 4 games, 123 allowed, 145 allowed, 116 allowed, 127 allowed. So it's like we have, and those are decent offenses though. Denver, New York, Phoenix involved. So maybe Milwaukee team total over, maybe over altogether. And I think that there's a lot Milwaukee can do offensively, but nothing like jumping out to me player prop wise. I meant to mention earlier in the video, we are looking to bring someone on the Guy Boston Sports team, someone that is able to take videos just like this they are watching on YouTube and edit them down into a vertical short form content that we can post on Instagram or TikTok, Twitter, that type of stuff. So if that does interest you, I have an application type Google form down in the pinned comment. So make sure to go and fill that out, and you can even use this video and cut it up. We're looking for some sample work, so like taking one of our recent videos and showing us what you got. But realistically, what we're looking for is any sort of entertaining content. It can be something that we were wrong about, right about from the day prior, or if we post something that day and I can't pronounce a name and it's funny, that type of stuff. More engaging, entertaining content, not necessarily just a cookie cutter pick. So if you do think that that's something for you, go ahead and check out that form and apply down below. Again, we're looking to bring someone on the team for that specifically to share some social content and cut these long format videos down into a short form content daily. So yeah, if that interests you, check out that Google form down below in the pinned comment. Miami taking on Memphis. Miami coming off of a win yesterday against the Celtics. Really didn't surprise me, as I said in the video. It's like that is a Miami team that still kind of is grinding to figure out their play-in situation, you know what I mean? So yeah, makes sense as to why they ended up routing the Celtics. Celtics kind of looked lackadaisical. They did kind of battle back at times, but that's me being a Boston Celtics fan and trying to rationalize. In this spot, I don't think that this number is as big as it should be. We talk about, wanting it and trying and all that. Like, Memphis is still very much trying to move up here in terms of what they have. Miami, not exactly the best back-to-back team so far this year. 42% of their games they've covered in. Miami is a good defense inside, which is where Memphis does kind of like to shoot from. But ultimately, like, this should be a spot of who wants it more. And I think both teams are going to play some serious basketball. But Memphis right now is the 8th seed in the West. They are a half game out of the 5th seed, and they are tied with the Timberwolves, Clippers, and I think they're way ahead of the Mavs, right? The Mavs are pretty solid down there. So it's like there's 3 or 4 teams this Memphis team is competing with right now, and wins could go a decent way. And Minnesota being one of those teams, they're like 15, or it's right on the screen, 13-point favorites tonight. So I think Memphis wants this one. I think that they're going to be able to, take this one as well. I kind of struggle with the idea of them on the road here, but ultimately this should be a spot in which, Memphis, hopefully they can get the pick and roll going. So I like Ja's assists today. He's not always the biggest pick and roll guy, more ISO from time to time, but like I said, if the pick and roll kind of is open and works, which could be a decent spot here against this Miami team, I think that he's good enough to be able to do that, and maybe they'll get some knockdown shooters there as well. So I like him in terms of a player prop overall. I think his points is at 24.5, but I'd probably be targeting his points plus assists, thinking that he's going to have a little bit more success in the pick and roll. But yeah, give me Memphis. In terms of a total, I've definitely gone back and forth because both these teams can kind of grind it out and play some defense, but we know how Memphis wants to play, and we know how Memphis does play. You got to look at the over here. 225.5 seems a little bit too low. If we look at Miami's defense as of late, we can give them a little bit of credit, but they are on a back-to-back here, and maybe their defensive legs are a little bit tired. And when they're tired, their defensive transition ain't all that great, guys. They're allowing nearly 55% of their opponents this season in transition. So though their defense has looked good, I think it could look a little bit different here on a back-to-back, which they have not played a back-to-back in a month. You know what I mean? Whereas Memphis, they've lost 4 straight games against good competition. Golden State, Boston, OKC, and then I'm missing one team, but whatever, another decent team. They need to get back on the win track. I think that they're going to play their form of basketball, which is running. So Memphis, the over, and like I said, Ja Morant, I think, could be in a good position here as well. All right, we just kind of referenced one of these teams. We got Minnesota taking on Brooklyn. Minnesota, what a win against Denver. That is, this Minnesota team owns Denver, and now they have that momentum heading into the playoffs. They had to fend off, now it went to double overtime, but they had to fend off a 61-point triple-double from Jokic. Now, Jamal Murray didn't play, I get it. You can make some arguments, but Minnesota didn't have some of their guys either, right, because of the suspension. Brooklyn does have 2 wins in a row, albeit Washington and Dallas. Shout out to Anthony Davis. Was it yesterday, the day before? In this spot, I would say this is the other side of what we said about that Milwaukee spot. Maybe a slimy parlay where we look at Minnesota minus 2.5, pair them together with Milwaukee minus 2.5. I don't love the idea of Minnesota winning by 13.5 points. That is such a big number, especially coming off of a high against Denver now and a potential letdown spot against a Brooklyn team who has been pretty damn good against the number this season, right? Brooklyn overall has covered a decent amount. They're 55, 56% of their games so far this season. What I will say, though, is in the last 10 games, Brooklyn has, not to say exclusively, but definitely a perimeter-based offense. And what have I been telling you guys? That is feeding right into what the Timberwolves like to do. So I like the idea of Minnesota being able to win this one handily, but I think that they might do it with their defense to some degree. So yeah, it's either that slimy parlay piece where we knock this line down very, very far, or we look at a Brooklyn team total under. You're just going to have to, get a pretty bad, it's 102.5, 103.5, that type of a number. But I do think that Minnesota can kind of hold off this team. Last time they played, it was not the season, it was last, but Brooklyn only scored 86 points. The time before that, 94 points. So it's they've definitely, and these teams have changed drastically since then, but historically they've definitely kind of struggled against this Minnesota team, and Minnesota's been pretty good defensively. So that's how I would look at this one. And then because of the blow potential, no real player props that I'm loving. I did mention the perimeter defense. I could see anyone that's kind of a catch and shoot type guy, and there are a decent amount of them on the Brooklyn side, maybe taking a peek at their under, but because of the roster that, Brooklyn's trotting out there, and we have Russell questionable today, no Cam Johnson, no Williams, in terms of, their starters, some of these guys' lines are going to be super, super low anyway, so what's the point of taking an under, I guess? All right, guys, if you made it this far into the video, go ahead and comment 19 down below. Really do appreciate it. And it's been a while since I explained why we like to do these comment the number at the time. I get a chuckle out of it, but it's kind of twofold. First and foremost, I love seeing the recurring usernames and the recurring people in the community that do watch all the way through. Like, I love learning and obviously starting to interact more and more with you guys, whether it's here in the Discord, Twitter, all of that, right? But the second part, which is the part that makes me chuckle, is when we do that, we get a lot of people being like, why is everyone commenting 19? And I'm like, if you know, you know. It's not like they're doing anything wrong, right? Everyone's entitled to skip around and blah, blah, blah. But I just love the idea of someone being like, why are we doing that? If you just watch the video now, it's asking a lot. I do understand that. But if you just watch the video, you'd see. So I don't know. It's kind of twofold there. But yeah, comment 19 if you made it this far into the video here. Now, we got the Lakers taking on Golden State. Lakers tied with the Nuggets right now for the 3/4 seed, so I'd say that they want to win this one. And the Warriors just a half game into that 5 seed. We mentioned the Timberwolves, Clippers, and Grizzlies all just a half game back. So you better believe both these teams are going to want to play their best basketball. Kuminga's questionable. Peyton's still out for this Golden State team. LeBron probable. Maxi Kleber still out in this one. I think it's going to be like a really, really good game, almost like a back and forth type of game overall. So yeah, we have a pick'em on our hands. The thing that I would probably end up weighing a little bit more is the fact that the Lakers are at home. But if you're on Golden State, I really don't mean to talk you off it today. That is a good ball club. They're really playing some good basketball, but it seems the Lakers may have this Warriors team's number. They've won 3 times this year, but I know that a lot of people will be like, well, if they've won 3 times, like Golden State is due. Sure, but they've taken the 2 in Golden State, and one of those 2 would be that one, in my opinion, that they would win, right? So, yeah, this is going to be a close one. All of those games have been fairly close as well, no closer than the Christmas one, but give me the Lakers in the spot if LeBron plays. Again, if Golden State was at home and we had the same exact numbers, I'd probably flip-flop. So do not get me wrong that I'm trying to talk you off of Golden State or there's no angle to get to Golden State. I'm just kind of saying why I like the Lakers. If we do look at this from a perspective of, how it's going to go, the Lakers really do struggle with the interior defense. They didn't right after the trade, but we've started to see that come to the forefront, which is what we all expected, right? This is a Golden State team that has neglected scoring in the paint over the last 10 games. So all of a sudden that weakness doesn't seem like it's all that crazy. And the Lakers, not going to say that they're a great defense from, the 3-point line, but they're kind of middle of the pack, and if anything, above average any given night when they do decide to try. Decent against the catch and shoot, decent against the pull-up. So sure, we may see them kind of stifle what we have this Golden State team looking to do, which is shoot from the perimeter. So that's kind of why I like it, but I will say, Golden State, there's plenty of angles to be made. If they want to score in the paint, they should be able to. They'll win the rebounding war. I'm pretty confident in that one. They do have the better defense. You throw in the fact that, this Lakers team has kind of won some games being really good defensively against the pick and roll. They're one of the best teams, if not the best team at defending the pick and roll. Golden State says, who cares? We run the 3rd fewest pick and roll plays on the season. You know what I mean? So it's not like everything points towards LA. There's plenty of spots to get to this Golden State team. Where I think I ultimately come down on this one in terms of a total, though, is a slight lean towards the under. You've heard me say the word defense 5 times when breaking this one down, right? So I'm trusting some defense in this one. Right now it's at 228. Is that the most up-to-date line that we can spot here? 228.5. So yeah, I really don't mind that. That definitely has a chance of being a final play. The one thing I worry about is the fact that these 2 teams, though they're middle of the pack pace, but that kind of puts us in limbo, right? It's like, are they going to run? Are they not going to run? We mentioned that they've played 3 times. In those games, they've all gone over. So little dicey there, but nonetheless, I think one of them actually went over their number, but not over this number, so that's good. But either way, 2-1 to this number, little worrisome there. But again, I do think that this is a defensive type game, or at least a game that both these squads come in and prioritize defense overall. Golden State on the road this year has hit the under in 50% of the games. That's not all that great, right? But the Lakers have hit the under in 56% of their games when at home. So that kind of fits as well. But guys, no major player props. We might add something in this game, so keep an eye on the final plays. And if we do add anything, I'll give a little blurb as to why I like it. But overall, that is going to do it for today. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.